Okay, Christine, the meeting is yours.
Great, thank you very much. Good day, everybody. I'd like to bring the ICC Fire Service Membership Council meeting for October 27th to order. Carl, can you please do a roll call?
Sure. Chief Reed, I've got you. Tim Diehl, I think he's not going to be with us today. Yep, I'm right on that. Chief Adams, I think I see you. Marshal Boisfort.
Yes, sir.
Hello there. Marshal Desrochers will not be with us today. He's got another thing going. Gary Farley. Chief Hyde.
Hey, Carl, I'm here.
Hey, thank you. Chief King. Chief Lane. He's short timing. Marshal Lund.
Present.
Got you, sir. Chief Medina.
Sorry about that here.
Well, I saw you on there. Gotcha. Marshal Nelson. Marshal Porter. Steve Swarthout, I've got you. Chief Wassom, which actually Chief Wassom just texted me and he is teaching today, so he will not be able to join. And a big round of applause for Chief Metz. You here? Randy Metz.
I am here if I can get off mute.
There you go. Welcome back, Randy.
Thank you. It's been a long year.
Absolutely. Tim Schmitz, are you here? I think he might be out today too. Let me take a quick look at this, Christine. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We are right on the edge of a quorum. I think we're just a little light by like 1 right now, Christine.
Okay.
But
We'll see. We'll just pass over some things that need a vote, and then if we get one more GC member, then we will go back to it.
got it.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just trying to get a report here. Okay. All right. So I think today is going to be a somewhat light meeting. We don't have a presenter this month. So going into item number 2, additions or corrections to the agenda. Does anyone have any additions or corrections to the agenda? Hearing none. Approval of the minutes will need to wait since we don't currently have a quorum. So we'll table that. Carl, if we don't have it, we'll just push it to next month's meeting.
I will make a note.
Great, thank you. All right, going into the work group updates, member engagement, Brian.
Hello. Just a couple quick things. First of all, for everybody on the call, I apologize. Trying to get things settled and sorted out with member engagement as far as speakers go. So it was a little short turnaround with getting a speaker for today, so we did not have one. I'm planning on having a brief meeting, hopefully this coming Thursday, November the 3rd, so a week from today, at 1 to discuss presenters. So what I'd like to do is get a bit of a calendar kind of going so that we can give some people some notice. So for those that are on the call, if you have suggestions for speakers that would be pertinent to the group, feel free to forward me their information. Also encourage you to join on Thursday if you'd like to do that, or whether now is appropriate or during good of the order later. If you have topics or names, throw those out to me. Like I said, I'd like to get a calendar going so that with regard to our speakers, we can give them some notice so they can know what they're putting together and speaking to for the group, as well as making sure that we can advertise, so to speak, if there's a topic of particular interest to someone that wants to jump on that meeting. So that's kind of where we're at thus far with member engagement.
Great, thank you very much,
Hey,
Brian.
Brian, I got a quick question for Brian. Do you have a monthly scheduled meeting, Brian? This is Steve Swarthout.
We do not yet. So since
Okay.
kind of taking over at the in-person meeting, it just I haven't set up a set monthly meeting. So I just wanted to with this meeting today, get next Thursday just on the books and just kind of set it up, and then see what participation is going to look like. And then if there's a more convenient, that always seems to be the topic of conversation. What's convenient for the masses, if there's a particular day of the week, time of the day, knowing that we're different time zones and everything else. I just figured 1 p.m. for this first one, just to get kicked off, but then hopefully we'll have a standard set meeting for member engagement so that we can discuss items.
Great, thank you very much. All right, emerging issues and trends. Michael's not here. Excuse me. He did send me a short email. They did have their monthly meeting. They are working on the spreadsheet that they record the different emerging issues and trends that they're looking into. But I do want to open it up to anyone else that might have been at that meeting. I know Kelly, you participate on that meeting, not to put you on the spot, but you or anyone else would like to talk about what was going on. I know there was discussions about indoor fire pits, things like that.
Sure, that indoor fire pits was part of our discussion, different types, and which ones are issues, and whether or not there was any data to support injury or fire ignitions or anything else like that. The second one we talked about a little bit is vacant buildings, and whether or not anybody had a program in place to be able to address that problem. With that being said, there was an article published this week through the city of Baltimore and the program that they're using. So we'll be talking about that at our next meeting to see what the elements of their program is and what it's accomplishing, and whether that's a like system that we might be able to work off of for down the road and make that available to other locations. But those were the two main issues we talked about.
Great, thank you very much. Next work group, public awareness, Steve.
Short report because I don't really have a whole lot for the team. I apologize.
All right, thank you. Training and education, Mark's not here. At the last meeting, we had some good discussions about trying to find within the calendars coming up where we might be able to propose classes for inclusion into those either conferences or training sessions. We also had a continuing conversation with Rock from Global Membership Council that we were talking about how we can move forward with the webinar that FSMC and Global have been talking about doing. So that's an exciting thing to do a joint effort on. So more to come on those projects as well. Moving on to reports from officers and liaisons. I will pass mine over and I will move over to the governing committee board liaison. Again, as you heard in the meeting, Director Randy Metz has been now reinstated as the FSMC liaison to the board. So welcome back, Randy, and we'll open it up to you for a report.
Thank you, Christine. I guess my 1-year suspension is up. They are allowing me to rejoin you guys, and it feels good to be home. I was able to stop in at your meeting briefly back in Louisville and see a little bit of your discussion, but it's been interesting to spend the past year with a BMC since a lot of our issues have a lot of crossover there. Their concerns are pretty much the same as your concerns. And it just feels really great to be back with the group that I've spent so many years with here. I will start off by saying thank you to those that were able to travel in person to Louisville. It was great to see you all there. And thanks to those that were able to attend virtually as well. I know that travel is not easy for everybody, but getting you on the phone and luckily your guys' connection worked well for virtual stuff. The room 2 doors down from you guys where the BMC was, we weren't able to establish and get any of our virtual attendees there. So it was great to see a full house there, a lot of participation and guests that attended, and quite a few board members stopped in as well. So FSMC is still a very important part of the board's mission to serve all the different genres of code official. And I'm happy that our governing committee continues to work and push forward. A couple items right now I will share just coming up. Exam development committees, you have 4 days and some hours left to apply for those. 2 of the committees that we are seeking members for is the Certified Fire Marshal Committee, as well as all of our fire service related exams. So if that is something that interests you, please push forward. It's great if you have a staff member that you think would benefit from some career development by participating in those areas. It's great to be able to put somebody on an EDC when they may not be ready for serving on a code development committee yet, but know that you have 4 days left to put names in for that. Group B code hearings, if any of you are voting on our Group B stuff, the deadline has been extended to November 1st. Originally, it was going to close at the end of the week. They've given us through the end of the weekend, including Halloween, to get those votes in. So there's quite a few things. I know that, no fire code this year, but there are still quite a few fire service related concerns in the codes that we are voting on, especially in the admin code. So I highly recommend that you log on. If you're a government voter or an honorary member, you are able to vote. And a lot of those are looking for just for a simple majority to either maintain or overturn some of the actions that were at the public comment hearing. So we want that to be more than a small handful of people weighing in to dictate what goes in our next code. I want to say congrats to Kara Grzinski. She was our Robert W. Gain Award winner, former member of our FSMC governing committee. Most of you know Kara out of Elizabeth, Colorado. Has really done a lot throughout her career to serve the fire service. I think she was a great choice. And I will put out there right now that it's never too soon for FSMC to start thinking about a name to put forward for next year. This will come in the spring. It always sneaks up on us. We always are scrambling, trying to put a name forward. And we just really want the awards committee of the board to have a lot of good names to pick from. We want this to be a difficult decision for them. And we've been very successful on FSMC on the previous names that we put forward for recognizing individuals that have really contributed to the level that warrants the Gain Award. The same way with honorary members. This is another area that we didn't have very many applications last year. Tanya Hoover, that many of us know at the U.S. Fire Administration, was one of 2 individuals that were recommended last year for honorary members. We can put forward up to 4 as a board, and we'd love to see more names put forward next year. We do have a couple people on our GC right now that are honorary members that were put forward by us, and give that some thought as well. Board meeting, the next in-person board meeting will be in December in Colorado Springs. One of the areas that I know that we will be discussing with Mike Witch, the new board president, is membership councils. I know a lot of discussion has been had regarding issues and concerns. What can we do to help membership councils? You know, what direction do they have from the board of directors? I have a lot of those same issues and concerns, and we've had some very brief dialogue at the board level, but I know that Mike Witch does want to take a look at the membership councils and, you know, really solidify the reason and the purpose, and hopefully provide some direction back down to you all, and listen to your concerns. So just know that hopefully that discussion will happen briefly in December, so that we can report back to you guys and really get, you know, some help and answer some questions that we know you all have, as far as, you know, why is it this? Why did you move our date here? You know, why do we only get one night? You know, why do we get this? You know, what are we here for? Is there anything that you want us to do that we're not doing? Do you have any projects that you can give us? You know, all those things I think are valid discussion items. I view the membership councils as kind of an advisory committee to the board. And I wish that and look forward to seeing the board actually utilize the membership councils in an advisory capacity. You know, but sometimes we need to push information down that we would like to be advised on. And that's an area that has not been happening right now. So I will be bringing that up as my concern as a board member now, and hopefully get some direction back for you. I think that's all that I have right now. Looking forward already to St. Louis in the fall of next year. I believe it'll be October. No spring code hearings next year, but there will be a chapter leadership event that is being planned for Tampa, Florida at the end of April. So the board will be meeting then, but we don't, I don't know how that's going to affect. I'm sure that Carl will be working with a spring FSMC governing committee meeting. It might be rolled into Tampa, and Carl may have more information on that, but that's where we know the board will be in the spring, since we won't have code hearings. With that, I can be able to answer any questions, or turn it back over to you, Christine.
Great, thank you very much. Any questions for Randy? All right, thank you, Randy. And I don't see that we have any other board directors on the call. So with that, before I go into the next item, Carl, I'd like to go back up to item 2B for the approval of the minutes. Can you please confirm that we now have a quorum?
I believe that we do, by my records. Yes, I was just making sure that the draft minutes were up here for review.
Great, thank you very much.
Yep.
So now Carl sent out the meeting minutes as well earlier this morning. So I will now be looking for a motion to approve the September 14 meeting minutes.
I move that we approve. Adams.
All right, I hear a motion. Is there a second?
Swarthout, second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you very much. Now we'll go back down to item 4C, report from the chair. I also just wanted to pass on my thanks, as Randy had said, for all of you that attended the Louisville meeting, either in person or virtually. I think we had a good meeting. The time always goes by quickly, but I think we had some good discussion, and it was great to see those that could make it in person. We were able to see them and be able to network a little bit more than what we're able to do on a Zoom meeting. So thank you for your participation in that meeting, and looking forward to the coming months. For C, staff liaison report, Carl.
All right, I am here. Hold on for 1 second. I'm just pulling up some info. I'll get my camera on here too. Okay, well, it's been quite busy since we saw you all in Louisville, as Chief Metz said. Got a bunch of things going on, but just a quick reminder, just to ditto what Randy said earlier. OGCV vote open until the 1st of November, 11:59 p.m. Pacific to get those in. And as he did note, that is a change. I know that maybe not everybody had received that quite yet, but now you've got it and you've heard it twice. So get those in, and please spread the word as well too, in case there's anybody out there that's still working under the old deadline. Great time in Louisville. Thanks again to those who came to the conference, and to those, even those that got up super early to join us too virtually. Following the Fire Service Membership Council meeting, I was able to get some time with my boss, Gabe Mazer, and then we were able to bring both Butch Browning, who's the executive director at NASFM, as well as Gary West, who we all know and is currently helping the staff at NASFM, and got them in front of our CEO, Dominic Sims, for about an hour. So I know Fire Marshal Desrochers was with us as well. He's also currently serving as president of NASFM. So all around a great meeting, and just wanted to thank the NASFM members for their support. And during this transition that NASFM has been going through, it's been essentially seamless and has only served to really solidify our relationship there. So since I've seen you, a lot of stuff has been going on. So just in the month of October alone, the ICC, in conjunction with Colorado Division of Fire Prevention and Control and the Colorado Fire Commission, sponsored and held a wildfire forum in Colorado Springs, Colorado, that I know Bob Sullivan's on the line and was there with us. Thanks for coming and spending some time there, Bob. And we appreciate your support there too. But really what we were able to do there was, one, to take an important look back on the 10-year anniversary of the Waldo Canyon fire there in Colorado Springs. Colorado Springs Fire was very gracious. Chief Royal from Colorado Springs, as well as his Fire Marshal Brett Lacey, who many folks in this group know, were instrumental in hosting us and helping us with a successful event out there. And really, it was kind of less about the ICC as much as it was to just help the conversation along, right? It wasn't we didn't come into this with some expectation of it being a super codes heavy discussion, even though it was really the purpose. Our ICC Vice President, Stuart Tom, was in attendance and led a lot of the discussions there and helped us moderate one of the panels. He also served on a second panel that day, and I think he was very pleased with the event. He's got some good feedback from folks that have come and passed that along to Randy and others on the board. I publicly want to thank Stuart for taking the time to do this, because his energy is really what is helping to push the IWIC and the discussions around wildfire codes and regulation in the built environment as part of the national conversation these days. So that was a huge help. I think in the end, the outcome that we were looking for there in Colorado was what happened, which was we were able to bring in some subject matter experts from across the country, from Texas, from Nevada, our partners in California, and other places, coming in to have a really great discussion with members in Colorado that are really looking hard at regulation in the WUI. But more importantly, what we were able to assure them of is that they had a network now and they don't have to start from a blank sheet of paper. There are others that have done this hard work that are out there and willing to share some of the best practices and lessons learned, but also to be able to have some fairly candid conversations about stuff that just simply didn't work for them and some things that maybe Colorado would want to avoid or look out for as potential challenges or pitfalls in Colorado as they move forward. So again, thanks to the group that helped put that together. It was a great meeting. So that was the beginning. That was like 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of October. So beginning of the month. Fast forward into a little bit later in the month, right as soon as I got back, had Congressional Fire Services Institute did a fall National Advisory Committee meeting just ahead of the Fallen Firefighters Memorial Weekend up in Emmitsburg. So that was a good meeting. And then Fallen Firefighters Memorial Weekend went right into Dr. Lori Moore Merrill's United States Fire Administrators Summit on Fire Prevention and Control. That was a great event, brought the nation's fire service together. I'll make sure when I'm done with my report that I put the links to that event as well as the videos in there. Code Council was represented there again by myself and more importantly, Stuart Tom. I had the opportunity to be able to present on WUI codes and standards as part of our afternoon State of Science panels. And it really was a humbling experience to be with as many members and leaders of the nation's fire service. And I thank this group and the Code Council for allowing me to be out front to be able to talk on that subject as part of Dr. Lori Moore Merrill's larger agenda in accomplishing this summit. So coming out of the summit, I was pretty excited because of the fact that, and I'll make sure that I get a copy of this book out to everybody, but this is the booklet for the morning session that was part of the National Roundtable. And the National Roundtable included visits from the Secretary of Homeland Security. The Deputy Secretary of Homeland Security was in attendance with us in person. Also, the National Security Council and Resilience Office from the White House was represented, and the FEMA Administrator, Deanne Criswell, was there with us, in addition, of course, to Dr. Moore Merrill. So on that panel, I'll just kind of give you a sense of who served on that. So Chief Donna Black from IAFC, who's serving as the current president. She's the chief in Duck, North Carolina. Kevin Quinn from the National Volunteer Fire Council. Ed Kelly, the general president of the IAFF. Ernie Mitchell, representing former U.S. fire administrators, as well as the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation, and Jim Pauley from the NFPA, who's, of course, their CEO. So that panel was fantastic. I do have to say, and Bob, probably another piece of kudos to pass up through Elaine, or Lorraine, even though she already knows this, is that Jim did a really great job speaking for all of our codes and standards development organizations, including the ICC, during his presentation about the importance of codes and standards in the fire service today. But there were 6 asks that came out the back of that, the back of that morning roundtable that our afternoon sessions really did a deeper dive on and helped to promote and support. So, the first one was the impact of climate change in the fire service, a fire service apprenticeship program in which I made sure that our Safety 2.0 program at ICC was highlighted and can be a complementary part of that moving forward, particularly for fire inspectors and plan reviewers, the impact of occupational cancer on the fire service, behavioral health in the fire service. Also an interesting conversation and suggestion around parity with law enforcement and establishing that in federal policy development. But certainly, while last but not least, I did want to show you in here that the impact of codes and standards is one of the 6 asks, the national asks for the fire service of the administration and Congress to focus on for the fire service moving forward. And I have to say that while I feel a part of why that was included in there. I would say that there are lots of reasons for that piece to be in there with our other codes and standards development organizations and all the advocacy that they do around that. But that I feel in my heart that that element, even 5, 6, 7 years ago, would not have been included in there without a couple of things happening. One, Dr. Lori Moore-Merrill, I think, did a really great job of making sure that that was emphasized, and it's an important part of what she's doing and pursuing in her role. I would say that the greater administration is doing a really great job with emphasizing codes and standards, and that's all the way from the executive office of the president, all the way down through the Security Council and through the executive branch. So they've been great supporters of ours when it comes to issues for the fire service and the built environment and recognizing the role of codes and standards. So where I'm going with that is that we'll fast forward into next month. Dr. Lori has invited a number of fire service representatives back. I'll be representing ICC at a United States Fire Administration strategic planning meeting November 2nd and 3rd at the National Fire Academy, where again, we will, after we did a work session the day after the summit, to work out some of the mechanics around the 6 asks and to flesh those out into action items. I think we'll be fine tuning those, but also finding ways to be able to bake them in along with the other priorities that are going on at the fire administration. And, at least as far as my memory goes back, and there may be others in the room that go a little bit farther than I do, but I can tell you that I do not recall the fire administration reaching out to the National Fire Service orgs to participate in its strategic planning process previous to this. So this is a really big deal for us. Excited to see some of this stuff become part of what the fire administration will be looking at in the short term, but also possibly in times when Lori may transition on, and we may have another fire administrator or even 2, and some of the things that we're doing now will continue to be part of the plank of the fire administration moving forward. Not the least of which is an improvement in data collection and information sharing with the fire service. So a lot of really big things happening. The week after that, I was back off to Vermont to participate in the National Emergency Management Association Conference, which is all of the 50 state directors and territorial tribal representatives there. That was a really great meeting. I guess that was last week. It's been flying by. And then coming up in the second week in November, I'm doing a codes and standards presentation, a functional kind of presentation for the volunteer and combination officer section of the IAFC down in Symposium in the Sun in Clearwater. So that will be another exciting venue where we've not been before, to be able to talk a little bit about what company officers and volunteer chiefs should know about the codes and standards, particularly to do with things like active and passive fire protection features and other things that could potentially get you in trouble if you don't know a lot about them as a company officer, leader on the fire ground. So that's my report for now. I'm sure there's a lot of other things going on, but it's been a super busy month. And for anyone that's reached out that I haven't responded to yet, it's not because I haven't wanted to, but I've simply just been drowning in lots of stuff going on, and I think some great representation opportunities for our organization. So thanks to the members of the Membership Council for allowing us to be able to do that. Chief Reed, that's what I've got for this month.
You've been very, very busy. So thank you, Carl, for all of that. And I will just put in my 2 cents. If you didn't participate in the live stream of the afternoon session of the U.S. Fire Administrators Summit on Fire Prevention and Control, I would highly suggest that you click onto those links that Carl will be sending out. I attended, and I will say that every presentation was very impactful, educational, and it helped to kind of rejuvenate what we're doing here in the fire service. So I look forward to getting those links again, because I'll be watching some of those presentations again. So thank you, Carl.
Of course.
Next item, I asked to have this put in as a standing item because we ask for continued collaboration with other groups within our network. So I wanted to put this on the agenda for other membership councils and their liaisons to take a moment, if you wish, to give any kind of report or sharing information from your membership council. So the first one we have is the building membership council. I saw Tom. Tom, are you still? I think Tom's still on, and then I think I saw Bill Nash. So does building membership council have a report for us, or would like to say a few things?
I would defer to Tom. Tom's the liaison, so thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Actually, Randy covered pretty well what happened in Louisville. We had a very productive meeting and getting reorganized and new members, and don't really have a whole lot to report at this point in time.
Okay, thank you very much for being here.
Absolutely.
Continuity and Outreach Subcommittee. Tim Diehl, he's not here today, so I wanted to open up if anyone else from the subcommittee is here that would like to say anything.
Madam Chair, Bill Nash here for that group. If it's okay, just to follow up on Tom Allen's report, the Building Membership Council meets on November 2nd, so next Wednesday. The membership council will have, the governing committee will have their meeting. The agenda has gone out, so there'll be items there. Relative to the continuity and outreach, that committee has, as you just said, Tim Diehl is a co-chair on that subcommittee, along with a newly appointed member who will come on board after the first of the year, assuming they all get verified by the board of directors. Andre Hyen will be a co-chair of that committee with Tim. So, and I know they have plans to meet prior to, we hope to meet early in December with the new group of chairs, new chairs and liaisons to and from each of the councils to ramp that effort up. So I expect that to happen soon. But other than that, that's where that subcommittee is at right now. Thank you.
Great, thank you for that information. Global Membership Council, Rock, do you have anything for us?
Yes, thank you, Chief Reed. I have some really exciting news I'd like to share on the global side. So we are actually launching a second overseas office in Australia. And retired Australia building code official was hired. The focus in the office is basically for conformity. Obviously, you know, they have their own building codes. And then Gulf countries, which is made up of 7 countries, mainly UAE, Saudi Arabia, Qatar. I couldn't name the other 4. They are going to basically form the Gulf building codes, which is basically ICC. They're going to adopt the ICC building code. Saudi, they have already adopted ICC codes for years. UAE, I think back in the the construction booming days, ICC was involved. Set up office and everything. However, really there's nothing was going on. So with this building code adoption, we are looking training opportunities. I'm sure that, all of 7 countries, most of them never had an infrastructure, don't really know much about ICC. So we're going to see a lot of that in the future. In the past, I think LA had a internship that, they could have, guests, from foreign countries that intern, and then, basically learning the ins and outs, not just building codes, enforcement, permitting. So I'm sure that, out of 7 countries, those opportunities will definitely coming up. So, if any of the building departments interested, it's really not too late, to look into that. That's all I have.
Right. Thank you very much for being here. All right. So is there any other membership council here today that would like to say a few words to the group? Josh?
I appreciate the opportunity to just speak to this wonderful group. Our council did meet last week, and we just wanted to thank you for all your continued support and our relationship, and we look forward to that moving forward. The one thing that I think is important to note, last year we had, or in the 2021, we created approximately 191 social media posts in our little group, and those reached 17,000 people. We focus a lot on reaching out into the non-traditional code environment, and that has and so if there's anything we can help, especially with Chief Adams with the member engagement section, we've seen a steady growth over the last 3 years in our social media platforms of about 20% a year, and we are, according to the Carla Higgs, I think it looks like we're about the 3rd largest membership council right now, behind you and behind the fire service membership council and the building officials, which is a good thing for us. And we're trying to use that tool to gain more buy-in from outside agencies and especially policymakers. So look forward to the next coming year and our continued partnership. And I appreciate you guys having me in.
Great. Thank you very much for being here and passing on that information. All right, anyone else? Any other membership councils? All right, we will move on to ongoing business. This is an item that has been on the agenda for a meeting or two. The leadership of the membership councils had a meeting in Louisville, and then we had a brief meeting since then to talk about items of either concern or consistency with regard to the membership councils. And Director Metz talked about some of the priorities or discussion items that might happen with President Witch at their next meeting with regard to the utilization and the priority and the position of the membership councils. So this is an ongoing topic that we, as membership councils, would love to be part of the discussion, as we could be invited to discuss further about membership councils and the considerations or how we can better be more effective for the membership. So I don't really have anything to report now. This is still ongoing. So hopefully we'll have a little bit more information in the coming month or two, and we'll get back to everybody. But right now, I won't belabor the issue with what we had spoke about at a previous meeting. New business, we have the election of the chair and vice chair. This typically comes from the nominating committee. However, the nominating committee, Carl, I'm not sure if anyone is here today from the nominating committee. So if you'd like to take the lead on that.
Sure. So I know that if Marshall Desrochers was here today, he would be happy to step up and take this on. So what we typically do with the nominating committee is that Michael will serve as the chair, and representing NASFM, we typically will ask an ICC representative as well as an IAFC representative to participate in that process. So I believe that what we'll do here is, with your permission and consent, Chief Reed, is to basically open nominations formally in this meeting and document that in the minutes to submit for election of chair and vice chair for calendar year 2023. So I think in terms of timeline, what we look for is submissions to be sent between now and the next meeting. We would recognize those submissions. The nominating committee would come up with a candidate or candidates, I should say, for those positions based on submissions and make a recommendation back to the group for a vote at the December meeting. So that is my understanding of how we have done it in the past. and would recommend that moving forward. I can also coordinate with Marshall Desrochers to get that nominating committee stood up and a formal notice out to the governing committee for applications for those two roles.
Perfect. Sounds like a plan. Thank you very much.
Yep.
All right, our next meeting is, I don't know if it is the 3rd, is Thursday, November 17th, 1:30 Eastern. So mark it on your calendars if you don't have the meeting invite already. Questions or comments from the audience? This is an opportunity for any of you to be able to ask questions, to provide information, make any kind of comments. So I will open it up to the group. If you have anything that you'd like to say, if you can please use the raise hand icon in the room so we can see that you'd like to say something. Yes, Kelly.
So I know that everybody, not everybody, but almost everybody in our group knows Sean DeCrane, works for UL. He's leaving UL at the end of the month, and he's going home to work with the IAFF as the Director of Health and Safety of Operations and Services. What that means is he's going to be directly code related to what the IAFF is doing and operate and represent them from that standpoint. So I just want to give you all a heads up that change was happening. And when you see Sean, congratulate him.
Wonderful. Thanks for letting us know, Kelly. That's great. Anyone else? Joe.
Good morning, afternoon. I posted something in chat. The EPA is really bucking down on fire protection systems. They have the AIMS Act, which has affected the price of FM200 and basically has taken care of not installing any new FM200 systems, but also they're really affecting the PFAS. And there has some new regulation proposed out that's going to regulate and making the Superfund a clean site and reportables for discharging foams with PFAS and PFOs. I was on a webinar today and it's very important, I think, and we may want to reach out, ICC have reached out to the EPA and get somebody from that organization to start speaking to us because it's going to affect all of us, either installers, users, airports, and fire stations, fire trucks, and everything else. And there's some reports out there that I've been reading and seeing where they've taken foam systems out of fire trucks already, triple wash it, test it for PFAS, and still find PFAS, and then use more chemicals to clean it and find even more PFAS than they thought they were getting. So I think it's an issue that we're all going to face in one form or fashion. And I think if we don't keep our eye on that ball, we will all be spending millions and millions of dollars.
Great. Thank you very much for that information, Joe. Anyone else? All right, seeing none. Anything from anyone else for good of the order? All right, hearing none, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn the meeting. Does everyone want to stay on?
I'll make that motion. This is Lon.
Great. I heard two people, so we'll take that as a motion in a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for attending today. Have a good rest of your day, and we'll see you next month.
Thanks, Chief.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.